Good morning. It is bright and, well, it's not bright at all. It's actually still dark here, but I'm getting into a habit of waking up earlier. So it's Wednesday, the 1st of October. Happy Q4. So let's get into Bitcoin and update. So things are actually looking very, very good. So if we look at the yearly, this retest here was just another retest of developing year's value. VWAP starting to slope up. Trend looking good. Quarterly deviated below, reclaimed good shift. If this was bearish, we should really have rejected off quarterly val, which would have lined up with monthly val at 111.5-ish. As it was, we just got smashed through and reclaimed. So bullish development on the quarter, bullish development on the month, and the weekly is currently bullish as well. So, having been rotational yesterday, we're now looking to go in balanced up. So Bitcoin is looking really good against all long-term VWAPs. And against the composite structure as well. Let's just come to a slightly higher time frame and zoom out here. TradingView is doing that thing where it's slow to load. I don't really want to change the time frame again. Okay, so we got this 7-week composite back from May, and this 2-week composite from late August. And this was the overlapping area which held support. Pretty strange lows. This is kind of becoming a feature of Bitcoin, but we sold off on Thursday and Friday and then spent 3 days essentially chopping around at support, which typically you would anticipate that to break down, being compression at support, but there was passive bid here for the first time really since the September highs. So, the shift through these overlapping areas, VWAP levels, was the first sign, I think, that things were changing. Holding the 3-day composite lows as support, again, spending a lot of time here. And then the breakout yesterday and a retest from above, holding above the 30-day rolling VWAP, holding above the 2-week composite highs, and giving a messy retest of the 3-day composite highs. Tricky to trade because we are spending a lot of time, as I say at the moment, at these levels of support, 2.5 days here, 6 hours here, almost just chopping at the composite lows. What's the acceptance picture? Well, we did give time and space above, so it was clear enough. And then here, nice rounded retest again. So 115 is the only level that matters right now. I think if we can get above that, we're probably going towards previous quarter's value high to make a new high and take out September's highs. I don't see any reason to expect that not to happen right now. I mean, everything is shifting bullish. I can give you a bear case, but I just don't see a reason to entertain it unless something changes, And what would that change be? For me right now, it would be a loss of this level again. So if we get it below previous month's VWAP, the 30-day rolling, and the 3-day composite high, that would be a bearish shift. At the very least, in that case, we're going towards these lows, previous quarter value low. That's a possibility, but typically, you should expect the market to continue doing the same thing, i.e., in this case, trading up. So, trading above previous quarter's val, that was a shift. It's just doing everything you would expect a bullish market to do right now. So, next shift we're looking for is above 115, above previous quarter's VWAP, above the 90-day rolling, and above the 5-day composite low. So nice confidence there, and then if we get another messy retest like this, got to be looking to buy that towards previous quarter's value high, 118.5. I think that level is going to be big resistance. So if we come back to VWAPs again, previous month's value high, or September's value high, what is that? It's even August value high, isn't it? August value high is naked, untested, and aligns with previous quarters. So 118.5, overlapping VWAP confidence there. Probably going to be significant resistance. I would expect us to get a pullback from this level if we get up there from here. Where, probably somewhere in this area. Retesting again, perhaps the 90 and 30 days. But that's speculative at the moment. For now, the only thing I'm interested in is a shift above 115 and then a retest of 118.5. That is the trade setup for the time being. Where would I change my bias? I don't want to see us lose the 30-day rolling now. If we get back below 113, then this starts to look like a failure and potentially we're going lower. But until that happens, it just makes sense to side with the current condition, which is certainly bullish. So that's the setup. In here, nothing to do if you're flat. If we lose this, bearish, I would expect at least previous quarter's value lows to take out these lows, and then if we lose that, then potentially bears are back in control. But for now, no reason to expect that to happen. I was considering just going over reasons to be bearish, but I just don't think it's worth entertaining until the market shows that it is and bears are actually in control again. Then this is clear that this is the point at which the shift happened, right? This impulse holding, get above there, go to 118.5. So near term, that's what I'm looking for. And there's not much else to say on BTC right now. It's looking pretty good. Other major, I prefer Sol over ETH, and I'll just quickly go over why. Didn't know. Come on, this is slow. Very slow. TradingView does this sometimes, doesn't it? Okay, so why Sol over ETH? Just bullish market structure, isn't it? So 30 days across to 90, we're holding above the 90. It's very reminiscent of ETH BTC, where we chopped around after the break and then it traded higher. So I just think Sol is bullish against ETH, and therefore I just prefer it as a higher time frame play. Not to say that ETH is necessarily not going to do well, but I just think Solana looks a lot better. So if we look at Sol, came into previous year's value high, previous quarter's VWAP, the 90-day rolling. I did long it here. I took profit at 205. So just a quick sort of intraday trade. It's starting to look very constructive now. So yesterday we did get a rejection, or Monday we did get a rejection from the anchored from the top, but we held above previous month's value low, August value low. Here, that's what that level is. So unable to find any exceptions below there, break of structure, retest from above. Looks very constructive. I think in terms of getting into a leverage trade now, I mean, there was an opportunity here, certainly yesterday. Probably just want to see it break this 14-day composite high again. Nothing too clear, right? It could chop here for a while. It's kind of balancing a little bit. But overall, I think if BTC is going to move up and we get above the anchored from the high, that would certainly indicate that the bottom's probably in. Okay, because this has capped us here, and clearly we've managed to get back within value from the high at least. So that would potentially lead to a move up towards 228 for the time being. But looking quite constructive. If we end up forming a few days of balance here, that's going to give us a nice easy setup to take into the last part of the week. So just for example, it doesn't have to happen, but if we do balance here for a few days, any kind of failed break below or breakout above is a potential long opportunity. I think we've definitely got a pretty chunky area of resistance around 220. So we've got the 30-day rolling, previous month VWAP, yearly value high. But once we're back above there, all is well. So looks constructive, but lacking momentum is all I'd say about Sol for the time being. And that's kind of the case for a number of coins. So let's look at some other stuff. ETH, I'm just not going to look at because I just think Sol is better. Pump really is one of the stronger coins in the market right now. So eventually, this I was buying spot down here. Take a few leverage trades. I knew it would be difficult to hold longs, and people would get shaken out. So yesterday, we just got a wick into the single prints here. Previous week Val holding the support. Quite a lot of volatility. Eventually a retest of the composite highs again, and now breaking out. So above the 30-day rolling VWAP as well, which is capping us. Deviation, resistance, now support. So I was wondering if we could get a potential wick into that level again. Didn't come. Really I'd expect this composite high area to hold a support now. So I think any dips into this region are to be bought. Next area of resistance, previous month value high from a VWAP perspective. We've got this area of consolidation which may offer some resistance. High volume node here at 7. But yeah, looks really good. Breaking out meme inverted head and shoulder structure. Usually a good signal. So I really like this, and I think probably it's going to trade up towards the 10 billion area, 01. So pretty straightforward stuff, but a good spot play from this area, I think. Okay, so that's Pump. Dojo, I think, is looking really good. It's just, again, like Sol, just chopping and lacking momentum at the moment. Holding the anchored from the bottom, just struggling around developing value from the top. What else to say about this? I think that you just wait for a shift back above 236, right? So we've kind of been capped at this level. So it's 3-day composite low and a previous 6-week composite high overlapping here. So, clearly finding support here, and then it's just been capping us ever since. So personally, I've been buying spot, but I think the easier play would just be if we get back above there, find support in this low volume node, and then we can start to trade higher and probably gather some momentum. But yeah, it looks very, very constructive. This kind of rounding out nicely and starting to build a bit of momentum. The impulse is up and higher lows holding this point of control. Looks really good, and I think this can potentially trade a lot higher. If this is going to make new highs, you're probably looking at like a 3x. Doge can really, when you get momentum in Doge, it's not something to be faded, right? It's an explosive few weeks into a phase of distribution. Usually, we've seen it over and over again. Just a couple of weeks of explosive price action, distribution, and then this rounding out pattern. So is this the same thing? A couple of weeks of explosive price action, distribution, big correction, and then just rounding out again. Hopefully, but I really like it. It looks good. So definitely on my radar for longs. But yeah, probably just need to get above there, and then I'd be looking to get into leveraged longs. Hype chopping, in summary, it looks fine, it looks good. I think the bottom is in, but just chopping around this high volume node and still trading below the 90-day VWAP. So difficult to trade at the moment from a purpose perspective, and it may need longer here to go sideways. But I think, again, once we get above the 30-day, probably easier and can start to look to buy dips. On leverage. For now, I don't really have a short-term plan for hype. We are clearly just balancing. So there is some kind of value being formed here again, but it's in the middle of old value. So I would just refer to the old value personally. But let's take a quick look. Yeah, so essentially 1-2 deviation back into previous. So we're forming balance here, aren't we? 4 days. Let's just take a look. There may be a setup we can create around this. Oops. So we've got 4 days of value between 43.92 and 46.56. Okay, so there's your range from Friday to Tuesday. We had an attempt to break down yesterday, got brought back up, and we're just chopping in the middle of it. So yeah, we just need to see that breakout above 46.56. It's probably good. So either we get another dip into here, look to buy, or a breakout above the range. Personally, I'd rather just wait for the breakout. So I'm probably just going to leave an alert there. 46.50, let's say 46.5. So yeah, it looks good, but may just need some more time again to trade sideways. But I don't hate the way it's looking at all. I think what I'll do is I'll come to the sort of some other stuff at the end in case anyone's really interested. Asta, well, I bought spot here yesterday. It is catching a knife. There's no upside momentum yet. I don't really want to see this area lost, so it's a retracement of, this is essentially at the 786 fib of this leg up, so it's a big retracement. Yeah, we'll see. Easy trade, get back above 180, right? If it can get back above 180 and back into this previous area of balance, then all is well. Here, not a huge fan of the way it's looking. No real, sign of reversal yet. No bottoming pattern as such. Just heavy absorption on this low, and a lot of volume. But yeah, just need some buyers to lift the offer. So we'll wait and see on that one. I'm not too optimistic. XPL, I think this is actually going lower. I did buy some yesterday, but unlike everyone else who is buying or exposed long on most of this leg down, I think I took a short like here and I closed it here, and then I missed all of this leg, but that's fine. At least it wasn't long. So I bought spot yesterday between like 106 and 101. But I think this is clearly still weak. The positioning is still skewed very long, and I think probably going lower, perhaps into previous month value low, is a good area of contextual support. And if I look at this price action, we do have an imbalance in that area as well. So that's an interesting area around 0.8. I'll probably just hedge it out, and then look to potentially bid more around previous month val. But yeah, it doesn't look particularly great right now. As I say, I think it needs to flush out more positioning. I'm not going to look at all the positioning stuff, but suffice it to say, it's still skewed long, and I think a flush towards 0.8 is probably on the cards. So it was actually probably a decent short even on this retest here. But yeah, losing the listing VWAP now, not looking particularly brilliant at the moment. I think if we do come into here, that is where I would like to potentially look to bid again. Targeting at least up towards this area. So that's it for XPL. I think a bit lower for that one. Some of these coins, they just need more time probably. Again, a lot of absorption here, but no one really lifting the offer at the moment. So Pump is probably the strongest coin in the market in terms of momentum. And everything else just needs a bit more time. Bear has broken out, actually, interestingly. This probably does quite well over the near term. Good trend structure. Holding above the composite high now. Gave it a good retest, or a good rounded retest here. So attempt here, no momentum, failed. Attempt here, held, good momentum. So this does look quite promising. Got the 365-day rolling up a sort of 440, so it's a good sort of 70% move, I guess, from here. If it can get going, 57% move. But that optically looks good at least. HNTs, I think they're doing some buybacks. I think the founder keeps on talking about how it's undervalued, and they're doing buybacks. But it was a decent buy down here over the weekend. I caught this leg, but I haven't really bought back in. It's a bit of a shit coin, isn't it? I think we'll leave it there, guys. I'll just quickly go over something that I wanted to, one of the reasons I guess I was potentially looking for a retest lower. I just don't see it happening at the moment. With bulls just looking so in control, but there are potentially reasons to be a little bit cautious. The big one for me is just we haven't really shown any velocity into a low yet, but typically they are accompanied by something fundamental, something that causes volatility. I don't know that we have that catalyst. So if I just look at open interest and how previous bottoms are formed, we just haven't really seen any acceleration into a low to really shake things up. Does it need to happen? Arguably not. But if we look back at what happened in March into April, I mean, we bottomed in April, but preceding that, there was a huge wipeout. We shed 20% OI in about a week, and here all we've really done is just chop. OI is down 11% in over 2 months. So, do we need that big shakeout? Maybe not. Similar here, right? Last summer when we got the big shakeout, but that was driven by the Japan carry trade unwind, if everyone remembers that, and this one was driven by tariffs. So in the absence of something to cause that, perhaps it just doesn't happen. It's just how high time frame bottoms have formed historically, and bears have been in control up to this point, but now bulls showing their hand. I think we can largely disregard it. It's just something to be aware of. The other thing, of course, is just that BTC vol has been at historic lows. Now, that doesn't mean it has to nuke, but it does raise a possibility. So the big volatility spikes we've seen historically over the past couple of years have been, the August nuke, and then really the February March sell off. But yeah, just something to be aware of, that volatility is historically at historic lows, and we're likely to see something happen very soon. Hopefully it's to the upside. It looks like it will be. So yeah, looking good unless we lose 113. If we can break 115, we go to 118.5 most likely, and then I think from there I'd be looking probably to take shorts and look to buy a higher low somewhere around between sort of anywhere below 115, I would say, would be logical, which is not much of a dip. I think that's it. While I'm here, let's take a look at ETH anyway. Looks like it wants to chop, doesn't it? Compressing between the 30 and the 90-day VWAPs. Unable to get above previous week value high. Unable to find exceptions in this 3-day comp at the moment. I think this POC is key. This level here. So deviated it, retested it from the underside and rejected so far. So, again, maybe it's just chops and forms value here for a few days, but for now, nothing to do. I think above 42.50, it's good. It's actually very simple if I come to the 4 hour. So we balanced up here for about 6 weeks. We got the breakdown. We came to yearly value high. Previous 3 weeks of balance held nicely. I took a nice short from here, caught almost all of this move, which was great. Good area to get long. I didn't get long personally. I think above 42.50, if we can accept above there, do something like that perhaps. Then it starts to look good for longs, but for now could just spend more time chopping, as it looks like a lot of coins want to. So yeah, expect a bit more chop, but BTC looking good, and dominance going higher. It's kind of healthy, right? So just need to be patient for alts at the moment. You could see dominance rally into the 60% area, which is a big move higher. So I think for now, focus should probably be on Bitcoin. Just picking up spot alts just slowly. And yeah, that's it. Catch you next time. Cheers.